Jeff, what was your assessment of the season? Probably some opportunities there that you would have liked to capitalise on?
Yeah, look, it's always interesting this time of year, isn't it, when you're not a chance to play in the final this week. So there's a lot of reviewing at the moment. We're reviewing our program, our staff, and our players as well. So we're right in the midst of that at the moment, and I guess dissecting all parts of the summer, even back to the BBL and to the one-day final, and clearly the most recent being the Shield summer. A lot of pride for how we've gone about it. There's been some adversity thrown to us at different stages of the summer. Really pleased with the output of our people, both administratively, our coaching and support staff, and our players. To play in a couple of finals across the two white ball formats is really exciting and really pleasing. We're disappointed not to feature in the Sheffield Shield final. We feel as though we're a little bit inconsistent, I think, over the summer. A little bit inconsistent, more so with the bat. Our bowling group have been wonderful throughout and led us to victory a few occasions. And just the inconsistency across the batting, maybe one of the innings in a 4 innings game, is something that we will sort of unpack with our group and determine ways and means to improve that moving forward. But a lot of pride. We're at the stage of year where we start to send some people off and some players off to different parts of the world. So that's always exciting, seeing our Tassie talent on the world stage. For some, it'll be a bit of a break at this time of year, and others it'll keep ploughing on.
When you say inconsistency with batting, is it just different sort of starting six than what you've previously had, or what does that mean? Yeah, look, we certainly had a bit of an inconsistent group, didn't we? But that was largely on the back of both Beau and Jake being in the test side, which is exactly what we want to see. We want to send players off to the Australian team. So really, that's a really exciting part of it. What that creates, we believe in our team, is opportunities for other players, and we've got certainly got the expectation that our depth can stand up and perform in any of the formats. When I talk about inconsistency, I think just through a performance, and often it was just one innings of the game, and be it the first or third innings of the game where our output was just below par, and just had us behind games quite often. One of the great traits, I think, of our team is that we've got great belief, and that if we have bad moments or bad hours or bad sessions or in certain cases bad innings, we fight our way back, and we do find a way to get back into contests and give ourselves a chance later on in the contests, and that's really well led by Jordan Silk, our captain, and our leading players. So we've got high belief in our performances, and even if we do fall behind games, we've shown that we can perform really well in that regard. So, but a little bit more consistency and not make them our poor performances really debilitating in a game of cricket. It will be our objective for next year. What were some of the other positives that you took out of the Sheffield Shield season? You mentioned like that mental belief, but what else? Yeah, look, credit to our bowling group. They've been fantastic throughout the year, led largely by Gabe Bell, who broke some records in the amount of overs and amount of games that he played. Second most overs in the games in the overs bowled throughout the summer. Would have comfortably bowled the most overs, but we gave him a rest in round 10 when it became a dead rubber for us. But look, he just kept challenging us to keep playing, and we kept backing him in, and he kept performing, and he kept running in really well and managed himself so well over the entirety of the summer. And then we had a mix of bowlers through there. Jackson obviously played a lot of games this year. Riley Meredith we thought was outstanding, and his numbers depict that. 30-odd wickets at 18 or something like that. And every time he was in the contest, it seemed to play at a different level. And that's generally a sign of players being ready to go to the international stage, which we're really excited about. Billy Stanlake came in and had performances where, again, he bowls at another level.
level. And then we had Kieran Elliott and Ian Carlisle early in the summer, and our young all-rounders in Aidan and Mitch and Bradley Hope had opportunities throughout. And Kieran and Loz came into the last game of the year and bowled us to victory there too. So that was really pleasing. Our bowling group stood up through the majority of the year. We had Jake Doran, who won our batting and got the most runs for us with the batting there, and 51 dismissals as a wicketkeeper and broke a record there. So he's had a wonderful year. On the back of some really hard work, and full credit to our wicketkeeping coach in Harry Nichols, who's done some wonderful work with him as well. So to see Jake have a really positive year like that with both bat and gloves is really exciting as well.
What happens now? Like, with a lot of the players, do you sit down and have sort of meetings with them, whether they're in or out of contract for next season? Because I know other sports have sort of like exit interviews. Is that the same?
Yeah, largely. I mean, we call them review. So we review the season. So they're multi-tiered, I suppose, in that some of our players, we're reviewing them and sending them off. So we're sort of almost planning for the winter as well. And part of that will be a physical planning, and particularly for our bowlers, and strategising around what their opportunities look like through the winter, where they're playing, how much they're playing, the formats they're playing, the communication required for that, any players of national interest, and communicating that with Cricket Australia. But then also ensuring that they have a little bit of a down period or a bit of a recovery period, and then most importantly setting them up for success next summer. So it's a juggling piece, but a really exciting time of year, particularly for our players who are heading off to different parts of the globe. And we've got a great staff who work with all of the different cohorts worldwide to ensure some success.
A majority of players contracted for next season in the Shield?
Yeah. I don't think we'll have a lot of movement, to be honest. We're still waiting on Cricket Australia contracting list, which then determines how much movement we've got in our list. So we're hoping that lands in the next week or two. And then that'll determine, where we can finalise our group.
You must be pretty pleased. Like, I remember speaking to you before about sort of keeping the same sort of players on throughout. Like, the time I've been covering sport, it's been sort of similar players. That's got to be a real testament to the club and the organisation.
It was certainly part of our strategy 3 years ago, I guess, in both formats of the game, was to create some consistencies, to have some real belief in our decision making and belief in our people, and I think that's certainly been one of the strengths of our programs across the three formats. We have faith and trust that we can develop our people and develop our players and give them the opportunity to fulfil their capabilities as a young cricketer. Cricket's another game as well that we can be playing until we're 35, 36, 38 years of age and beyond. So we certainly want to give our people the best opportunity to play the best years of their career as well. So we know that the younger players in the early 20s are certainly not at their best. They can play good cricket. They can help win us games, but we know they're going to be better and the best version of themselves in their late 20s and early 30s, which scientifically and historically and statistically would suggest.
I'm more happy, Brent or Jake. Brent?
I'll jump in if you want. Vaughan, how many Cricket Australia contracts are you expecting there to be?
We don't really know, Brent, to be honest. I think we've got 5 at the moment who are currently on contract with upgrades, etc. With the schedule, I mean, there's some really important white ball stuff coming up over the next sort of 18 months, but I'm sure everyone knows there's about 20 tests over that period of time as well. So it'll just depend on how Cricket Australia strategise their list and what strengths and coverage they need across their group as well, which will then determine. So, look, we're very hopeful that we get a high number and we've got some real deserving players to be awarded a Cricket Australia contract, but look, as more to play out, I think, in that regards.
Absolutely. You mentioned you're hopeful for not much movement within the squad, but is there anyone you're targeting, I suppose, whether it be local or interstate, that you'd like to see in the squad next season?
Yeah, I don't think there'll be a heap of movement, just looking at the lists and those who are coming off contract around Australia. It's always a time to have a bit of a look at who comes off or who doesn't get offered contracts. So we've got an active whiteboard where we're always assessing and tracking our players and opposition players throughout. So, look, I don't imagine there's going to be a lot of movement, but we're certainly aware of movement, and there's players and player managers always reaching out as well to make us aware of who's doing what and where.
What about locally, mate? Any local guys that might get an upgrade or anything like that?
Yeah, there are a few. Again, we've got an active whiteboard there, and there's been some really good performances through second 11, and we've selected players from outside of our squad in our second 11, and the Darwin competition back in August time. There's been some really good performances in the CTPL competition throughout. There's a huge grand final on the weekend as well. So, look, we're monitoring. We've got some exciting young talent as well. But look, it's something we're very aware of and very, as I said, we've got a deep whiteboard there, but we're also very keen, as much as possible, to continue to recruit locally, and that's a really important part of our program, that we won't go outside of the state or our program unless it determines that we need to. We certainly look at our own very strongly as well, and like to provide a pathway for our local players.
Speaking to Silky after the one-day final, he said these finals losses are starting to add up. Do you agree with that? And do you really need to win either the Shield or the one-day final next season, do you think?
No, look, we're pleased to be playing in any final. Any time you get to a final is a great opportunity and a great reward for good seasons. We were a very good one-day team throughout the season. It became a very volatile one-day final with the wicket sitting under covers for 8 or 10 hours, a shortened game, a rain-shortened game. The wicket was quite volatile, understandably so. And it can happen. But look, for us, we absolutely want to be in a final. We did everything we could to shift the date and host the final to give ourselves the best chance of success, to play in front of our family and our friends. Look, we'll take final opportunities wherever we can and get excited by it now. And our people and our players will be far better for any experiences like that.
Do you feel like you need to win one though? Obviously the team's really good, but to sort of to enhance your legacy, I suppose, as a team, to actually get to lift the trophy?
Look, we're trying to play in finals and win trophies in all formats every year, and to be in the mix throughout the entirety of the season, I think, is a really positive sign for us as a group across the three formats. And we've given it a nudge. We were unlucky; we didn't quite get over the line a couple of occasions throughout this summer. But geez, we were pushing the line so much throughout, and to get into finals is a wonderful achievement in itself.
And just last one, mate, with that one-day final, do you feel like there should be a reserve day? Like, it's a bit of a joke, isn't it, when you're playing a T20 game as a one-day final, do you think? Do you think there needs to be a new rule in place?
Look, it's a hard one, isn't it, with our schedule, and I just know how tough it is for our playing cohort at the domestic level. I don't know. I'm pretty comfortable with the fact that it's a final on the day, and that's sport, isn't it? And that's cricket. I'm pretty comfortable, and that's probably something for the administrators to determine for those sort of decisions.
Sorry, mate, I did have one more. Wadey, do you expect him to go around in the white ball stuff next year?
Yeah, we'd hope so. He's a wonderful part of our group and wonderful part of our team. Had some great successes with us this year. Made a wonderful 100 early on in the summer in September time, which feels a long time ago. But every time he's around our group has real impact. Excuse me. when he does draw time on his career, I'm sure there's a really successful and strong coaching career ahead of him. And look, that'll be something, the decisions that he and his family will make over the coming time. But look, whilst he's around our group, we love having him around, and he's very beneficial for us.
What about Jacko?
Yeah, look, I think he's pretty keen to go again. Another wonderful human being. Despite his cricketing prowess, great leader amongst our group, and I keep thinking back to even his impact on our group back in June and July and August last year when he was acting as a pseudo bowling coach, and he came to Guyana with us as our bowling coach, and just leads by example, but provides a lot of great information, great guidance and support to our young fast bowling cohort as well. So again, another one who's probably embarking on a coaching career post playing. But look, he's having a huge impact every day around the Tigers program.
And I promise this is the last one. How many of you guys will play overseas during the off season?
We've probably got about half of our group that are heading in different parts of the world through PSL, IPL, MLC, the UK component being the longer form straight up in April and May, or in the white ball later on in August time. Some are playing the UK club cricket as well. So we're about 12 or 13 of the guys will be on the road. And we're looking to have about 12 or so back here in Hobart. But there'll be also Australian tours and Australian camps as well that we will manage and provide opportunities for our players. So some will be going up and back and forth to Brisbane throughout and joining in some Cricket Australia camps.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Thanks, mate.